Hello and welcome to the last word on Spurs. We are your award-winning Tottenham Hotspur podcast, and we return on the back of Spurs making it 5 wins out of a possible 5. Where are we? What are we doing? Apparently it's our best run of form for over 3.5 years. Can you believe that? You know, again, people will look at the opponents we've had and the opposition and they'll ask questions, but can't argue about the sequence of events and the results. Spurs are really up and running. Joining me on this last word on Spurs, I'm joined by the instructor, conductor, the runner of this crazy epic train. Lee McQueen is back in the house, as is, look, he's a dancer, he's a singer, he's a man motivator. He's one of our own. He is our own. Ricky J. Norwood is back in the building, guiding you, steering you through our European journey, our domestic cup journey. And look, better late than never, he's on his way. The diva himself, the man you all love, the Oracle, Jason McGovern, is coming very, very soon. If you're with us for the first time, you can find us on iTunes. We're on Spotify. We're across all major audio platforms. We're, of course, on X. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook too. And look, we're going to open on the fact Spurs are continuing their run of wins in both the Premier League and Europe. And I'm going to start, if I can, Rick's my man, with you. Love to be back on the show, mate. It feels like it's been so long. We'll sort that out, no doubt. Ricks, let me come straight to it. 5 wins out of 5 for Spurs. I'm mad about it. That's a fantastic win in the Europa League. Goals, of course, from Pape Matar Sarr and Brennan Johnson helping Spurs on their way. It was a Spurs team, as we knew, that had 4 teenagers in there from the very start. And you know what? Overall, Mikey Moore, what a strong performance he had during that game. So much excitement about what it is to come for this young man. How excited were you, Rick, by that display? It was nervy at times. It was on edge. It was Tottenham, wasn't it, Ricks?
Oh, mate, it was a bitty performance. You know, when you're putting out the second side, so to speak, it always is going to be. Here he is. Jason's in the house, and I've just started the rant. And this is it for all the listeners out there and guys viewing at home. Jace had to do his hair. That's why it's a little bit late. So we're gonna keep it moving. We've got bit of bronzer. The man who complains with being late. We're early. Then
it was 8 o'clock.
Come on, Jace. I'm going early these days. We're going early.
I got your message says 8 o'clock.
I know. I thought it'd be stoppage time. Please, Rick, carry on, please.
Oh no. Listen, for me, it was exciting to see the youngsters out there. It was exciting to see Bergvall get some minutes. He didn't have the best of games out there, but it was good for him to get out there and get those minutes in his legs. Mikey Moore, I thought, was the kind of shining light tonight. I thought he was fantastic. He was brave. He didn't care about anything. He didn't care about the opposition. He didn't care about getting kicked up in the air. He just carried on picking up that ball, trying to find good positions, trying to run in and cause havoc and cause chaos. Lovely jubbly. I can't wait to see what comes from him. Archie Gray, again, a little bit bitty. Nothing outstandingly bad or wrong, I think, about his performance. But I think, you know, I'm glad that Ange moved him to the left back in the second half. He looked a little bit more comfortable out there, even though there was a few, you know, I say shaky moments. But I think that was to do more with the conditions and the pitch and stuff like that, which we will get into. But overall, I was excited. I was excited to go out there and see what these youngsters can do and know that this is the beginning of a journey for them. It was just a little bit shaky at the back for that second string back line, mostly because I think that's just understanding. I just think it was just down to understanding. And the fact that we was away from home in a European Cup tie where, you know, their crowd was up for it, our away crowd was up for it. But all in all, a positive night because we came out winners and with another 3 points away from home in this cup competition. Come on.
And I must add, for those that do remember, the last time Ricky J. Norwood was on a European game was AC Milan with Hartman, and it's probably the lowest I've ever seen Ricky as a Spurs fan. I've known him for about 8 years. So isn't it lovely to see Rick's back on our European show and last one on Spurs smiling, Rick's, right? That was a difficult night.
I can't believe you reminded me of that. That's
sorry, bro.
Worst moments.
I just remember your zipper jacket just getting further and further and further up. The point we just couldn't see his head at the end of it. That was how nuts that night was. Maka, I do want to bring you in. Look, that was actually, when you look back at Ferencváros' actual record, with Spurs are the first English club to actually beat them on their own soil for 55 years. Now, you can look at that 2 ways. I mean, I think it's fair to say, as you know, Maka, we have found European ties like this in the past quite difficult to get over the line. You know, let's be honest about it. You won't really remind me. I think you did remind me a while ago. The likes of Lask and all these teams, Dynamo managers in Mora, managers in jail. How important was it, Macca, maybe result over performance at this stage of the competition, just to continue the good feeling in the camp? 5 wins in a row. Is that what it's all about for you, rather than analysing and being too critical of the overall performance?
I don't think you can be critical of it. I think, I think you've got to have a bit of real, like, be a bit real at the situation. Like, you're going away from home to a club that has won 35 domestic leagues. You've just said they haven't lost on home soil or lost it for 55, would you say, years or games? Like
55 years. 55 years.
55 years, that's ridiculous. Yeah. So look, at the end of the day, I think when you go away in Europe, I think the key thing is to not lose. I think if you can get a draw at Europe, and most teams, it doesn't matter if you're in the Conference League, the Europa League or the Champions League, right? You're playing the people that are in front of you. It's the way that it is. So to actually go there with 4 teenagers on the pitch, as Ricky just talked about, and some of them shone, and some of them had tougher games, have some experienced players on the pitch, some, that have scored and won Champions Leagues that can't hit a barn door at the moment. That's just purely a confidence thing. And then have that kind of that back line situation. I mean, I've seen a few people on here even saying about Gray, Archie Gray, like not being left. He played centre back in the first half, and then he played left back in the second half. He's 18. So, I think the run out is great. Thank you, Martin Lunds. Really interesting to hear your thoughts of me waffling again. I'd love to hear your waffle, Martin, to be honest. But it's why over 1,200 people tune into the show, Martin, to listen to my waffle. So I'm going to continue. So yeah, I think, at the end of the day, I think Ange took a risk by starting them teenagers, but most of us wanted that. I'd love to see Will Lankshear up top, which we saw. I'd love to see Archie Gray, Bergvall play because of the way he got taken off last week. And obviously Mikey Moore, who I thought was very, very good. Let's have it right as well. Look, there was a couple of chances. We do give away some chances, right? But 2 of the major chances there, but both offside. You can argue all day long we got away with one. No, we didn't. The lines were there. It's the same as Son's toe against Leicester or all these years ago. And it's offside nowadays. It is what it is. The other unbelievable save that Vicario made, that was also offside. So, when you look at the chances they created, not that many. I thought the goal was excellent that they scored, and they probably deserved to get at least one. But we also hit the bar. We also hit the post. We had a couple of chances as well, and we scored 2 goals. So, when you look at going as an away performance, I think it was a good performance. So, happy days. We get the 3 points. We come home with 3 points in the bag, didn't we?
Oh, man, we did. Jace, I think one of the key things to take away from that game is the fact when you look at the average age out on that pitch, in the summer, Spurs, I think their average age was around 23 and a half from their signings. But, I mean, does that kind of bode really well for the future? You've got 3 first-team starters there, 4 teenagers. Average performance with big result. Is that how you'd sum things up, as King Hoddle says there in the summary of the chat?
Yeah, I think number one, I was surprised when I saw the lineup when it came through. I thought, to see Lankshear and Mikey Moore start, I think was a bit of a surprise. You thought maybe one would get an hour, the other one, say, half an hour at the end. Switched them around then, but I thought Mikey Moore was behind nearly all of our good stuff. It never looked like it was his first senior start, did it? Looked like he had confidence to drive with the ball, and I just thought he had a maturity to his game. Not everything came off for him, but if it didn't come off for him, it was still the right decisions. He ran with the ball when he needed to. He passed it when he needed to. He was involved in both the goals. I just thought it was quite a mature performance from Mikey. I suppose I started seeing the game and I thought Republic of Ireland were playing Northern Ireland for a minute with so much green on the pitch. And then by the time I'd worked out it wasn't Northern Ireland against the Republic, then I saw smoke everywhere and it was another 10 minutes I didn't see. And then I had a commentary that was about 2 minutes in front of what I was watching. So the normal teething problems that you seem to get with Europa, I think Lee had the same problem. Our commentary was running faster or was running behind or whatever. The pictures.
Yeah.
I can't work out.
I wasn't even on a download either. I was on proper TNT. I'll pay for that subscription, I'll let you know.
But even
I mean,
made me wear green today. I thought I'll get in with the green.
I thought, Jason, if a dog came on the pitch and had a shit, you'd be out of here after all that.
Well, that would have been it. Just needed the numbers drawn on the shirts. But no,
I thought that'd be. I thought you'd be quitting on me before we started this show. If a dog comes on and shits.
I thought there was good and bad in lots of it. I thought despite scoring for us, Pape Sarr's performance was a bit of a worry. All over the place, kept giving the ball away, gave it away in a couple of dangerous areas. I thought I think Bissouma had a decent-ish game, but he's not the number 6 that Bentancur is. Bentancur kind of takes the ball, moves it on quickly, whereas Bissouma wants to run with it, and that's when you end up with those big spaces when he runs with it. But all in all, we've gone away, got the win. Few rough moments, but we, as Lee said, we created a number of chances as well. Great to see Brennan continue that scoring run, and happy days, mate. 6 points out of 6.
Yep.
Three more in the next home game. You're pretty much there with 4 games to spare, and the importance of rotating that team means you got a lot of fresh people for the Brighton game at the weekend.
Yeah, totally agree on that.
Just quickly, Rick, before you move on, just on that as well, that rotation piece, obviously I totally agree with Jace, but you've also got that ability to now people, and I think Glenn Hoddle on commentary did say this, but they now feel part of the team. But it's also about them being part of the group and saying, well, I made that happen as well. Look, I know that Brennan come on and Kulusevski come on, and kind of you could say that they changed the game a bit in that instance, but yeah, I mean, I think probably the only person that's walking off that pitch, well, there's probably 2. I'd probably say Bergvall didn't do what he really needed to do, Rick. I don't know if you want to come on to that or not. If I'm
you're more than welcome to. I mean, I think there was a lot of
critical. He didn't really grab the game, did he? I felt like he needed to kind of run the game. Again, maybe that was like a game time and getting used to things as well, and that's why playing him today is going to be good for us later on in the season. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, like you say there, Lee, there does have a feeling with the way in which Ange has chosen and picked these players so far that everyone does really feel a part of the European journey. And it's great that Mikey Moore and, of course, Will Lankshear got their first starts. I think it's great when you're seeing the likes of Dominic Solanke coming off the bench, for example. It doesn't feel like, I think as Ben Davies said a few years ago under Nuno, that everybody feels that maybe there's a B squad. It feels like, there will be, as we've seen.
Who, Rick?
I know, it's been a while. It did happen. It did. I know it doesn't feel like it happened. It did happen. It really, really did. We'll go into the team in a bit more detail, Rick's actually on that point, because the team did see a number of changes being made. I just wonder what your gauge was on that, because when we look at the team that Ange Postecoglou fielded for this one, there was obviously talk about what he would do, given the fact, of course, that we've got this really short turnaround, as we know, with Brighton coming round the corner on Sunday, which we are going to look into. And the team that he named, of course, Spurs have players missing. It's worth obviously putting this out there. We have obviously the injured Heung-min Son at the moment, who we're not sure on a timescale of his recovery. He's back in London, as is Destiny Udogie. Wilson Odobert, we understand, is going to be out in the region, we're led to believe, of around 6 to 9 weeks, from friend of the show, Paul O'Keefe. Richarlison, although he's back on the grass, also missing. Radu Dragusin, as we know, obviously suspended for this one. Jed Spence, also missing on this one. Sergio Reguilon, just worth noting, of course, flew over with the team, but Ange did confirm that was just to simply make up numbers for training, nothing else apart from that. And as we know, Jed ineligible for this one. Spurs, we know, play again in 2.5 days, to bear that in mind. Starts, of course, on Mikey Moore, Will Lankshear both coming in, the fellow academy, obviously youngsters, defenders, Alfie Dorrington, Dante Casanova on the bench alongside Damiola Ajayi. Great to see a lot of the youngsters being involved in this competition, even if it is also from the bench. Archie Gray at centre-back with Ben Davies on the left-back position, whilst Lucas Bergvall making up the 4 teenagers in that 11. So our team did read Vicario Porro Romero, Davis, Gray, Sarr, Bissouma, Bergvall, Moore, Lankshear, Werner, with a bench of, it's a big bench, Forster, Austin, Van der Ven, Dorrington, Casanova, Bentancur, Madison, Kulusevski, Johnson, Ajayi, Solanke. And worth also noting that our hosts, they made 5 changes for this one and set up in a more defensive, pragmatic style than what they're used to doing. So, Rix, was you really surprised by that lineup, or excited by the fact we gave a lot of the youth a chance?
For me, excited, but what I'm really excited by, and what I think, the boss needs to take credit for, is the bravery and the trust to make that many changes and to put those youngsters in. you know, for a cup game, yes, it's a league cup game in the sense that we're playing for 3 points, and you know, if we lose, then we're not getting knocked out of the competition in that sense. But for him to take that decision and put that trust in those youngsters, I think is fantastic. It gives them encouragement. It gives them hope that they can kind of stamp their name on the team and, like you're saying, feel a part of it. But also, I think the biggest difference that I see to other teams in which we've played a kind of quote unquote B side is that when we've played previous B sides, we've had a lot of seniors in there that have kind of not grabbed their chance to nail their place in the first team. They haven't kind of put in the right shift, and they've almost been kind of disheartened that they're in the B team rather than going out there and proving why you should be in the A team. And when you've got a group of youngsters like this that are really hungry and they're really happy to be at Tottenham, but they really want to make their name. They haven't made their name in this team, and they haven't made their name in the league or around the world yet, but they all want to make their name. They all want to stake their claim. And I think that that's a massive difference. And the fact that Ange has made it a proper team, it's not about A and B team. It's about, all right, cool, you're playing on this day and you guys are playing on that day, but he's bringing everybody in. He's giving them that trust. And that's why it's been important that even though sometimes it's only 5-10 minutes, but that's why it's important that even in the Premier League games that he does bring on a couple of these youngsters, because again, they're feeling like, oh, well, I'm not just here for the Thursday night game, you know, against the side I've never heard of before, sort of thing, and not be disheartened. They, again, it's like, right, he's given me a chance in the Premier League. Fantastic. Right, I get a start tonight. Let me show him. And if you look at Will Lankshear's performance tonight, who I thought done tremendously well, I only think it's that quote unquote thing, experience, which this game will give these young ones. Why he didn't score, but he had a couple of great chances. But you know, straight away, as soon as he touched the ball, I had a feeling of trust within him myself. Like, I didn't think that he was gonna miss, or I didn't think that he felt overawed. I didn't think that he was intimidated by the defense at all. A bit like Mikey Moore, there was a kind of let's go about him, and I'll show you about himself. And I really was encouraged by that for another young man being up there. So there's a couple there that have taken their opportunity, and they're going to build on this, and it's going to be fantastic, like Lee said earlier, for the future. But those that had rocky starts tonight, I think that that's what experience is. You have to have rocky moments. I think you have to go through, you know, hard times to actually reach the top, to know what you need in the biggest and the hardest moments. You know what you need to do, you know where you need to turn, you know when you need to release the ball, you know when to hold on to the ball. All of those things, that's what comes with experience. And that's why I think, even though Bergvall and Gray, it wasn't like they done anything that I would be like, oh my God, these boys are terrible. But they were just, it wasn't their best performances, but they were, you know, for Archie played centre back, like Lee was saying, and then left back, and then you know, and then Bergvall. I think, and I'll ask the question to even like Jace, who understands, do you know what I mean, like greenery and grass and foliage, you know. I've seen your Instagram, Jace. I've seen your Instagram.
Bloody good.
So, but you know, the fact that the pitch was being cut up like that, and it was very chunky, and the rain was pouring a lot, would that have an effect on someone like Bergvall not being able to measure his pass properly? Because there was many times that he had a good pass, but it was just short, or when it hit the ground, it looked like it slowed down, or there were moments when Bergvall, Basuma, there was a couple, it happened mostly in the first half, where we would step on the ball or we would try and control the ball, and then it was almost like a slip off. You know, it was almost like they couldn't, it slipped away, and then they had to secondary try and bring it in, catch it, control it, and push it forward. So I don't know whether that had an effect on some of those young ones that didn't have the greatest of performances tonight. But I'll hand over to the agricultural coach, Jace, over there to enlighten us.
We went, Jace.
I saw enough green on the kits without looking at the green on the pitch. James alive.
You know what's crazy?
I couldn't even see where our players were on the pitch at one stage.
But you know what's crazy on the kits? Apparently, from what I understand, I think Spurs requested to play in their away kit, but they couldn't because obviously with the Hungarian side, because they had green stripes, that was a problem. But I don't really quite understand then why we opted to go with a green outfit. I mean,
I think it's going to be a problem on Sunday. I think it's going to be a problem on Sunday. You look at Brighton's kit and Brighton's away kit, and Spurs is all three kits. It's a proper clash.
So, from what I understand, I'm just reading it here. Tottenham were playing in their third green kit, obviously Ferencváros playing green and white. Spurs requested to play in their blue strip, while the home kit is not an option. And UEFA said it would clash with the Hungarian side's home kit, so the green third kit it was, which does sound absolutely. I mean, make sense of that. Very strange. Very, very strange.
I'm sorry. Is our second? Is that second kit green as well? Is that a different shade? Jace, is that a different shade of green? I thought it was blue, brother. I thought it was blue, but I'm confused now.
It is proper confusing. I can't understand UEFA. I can't. On the point that Rick mentions, Jace, about the youngsters in there, worth pointing out, when you look at the fact Spurs had in there, Will Lankshear, who last season delivered 32 goals and an impressive pre-season, starting in Europa League. Gareth Bale, you have to go back, was one of 4 teenagers to start for the night. Spurs played against Shakhtar Donetsk. This was a very special time for Spurs. It was 4 teenagers starting a European fixture since 2009. Is that a statement from Ange that he is going to give these youngsters a chance in this competition?
Yeah, I think tonight was a great opportunity. I think the AZ game and the Elfsborg game are the other two. You look at Galatasaray away will be a much tougher test, as will Roma at home, and Rangers, we know, will be absolutely rocking for it. But if they show enough in the couple of games, then I'm sure there'll be more opportunities for them. I mean, part of it as well is with the injuries you got to Sonny, to Odegaard, to Richarlison and things. So that kind of leaves you, if you do want to rotate, then you're going to have to use some of the younger players, aren't you, in those areas? So, I mean, I'm sure if Richarlison was fit tonight, he'd have played not Will Lankshear, for instance. But, given that he wants to rotate, then it's the perfect opportunity. And, you want to finish in the top 8, and I think we will do. But you have to look at it. I mean, if the worst comes to worst tonight and you go and get beat, you've got to finish in the top 24 of 36 teams. 66% of the teams in the competition go through to the next, or into the next stage, if you like. Yeah. So it's harder to be knocked out than it is to qualify. So
we are Tottenham.
But I mean, if you think of it, the old group stages, you had to get the top 2 go through, and so 50% went through, 50% knocked out. This time, 66% go through. So I mean, if the worst comes to the worst, you come away with a hiding, and the youngsters' heads are down or something through that. It's I still think 14, 15 points, you'll go through the group. So there's 6 in the bag. And if you look at AZ and you look at Elfsborg, you should certainly win those 2. So there's 12. So you haven't got to do too much elsewhere, have you?
No, you're right. And I think I
disagree on that with the youngsters. I've got to be honest, I totally disagree. I think it was a firm message, in my opinion, it was a firm message from Ange to the board to say that we didn't get the signings that we wanted in the summer transfer window.
I know you're being sarcastic.
Isn't that how it works, Rick? Isn't that the narrative?
Well, I know what you're like. You want to play the sarcasm tool. I know what you mean.
No,
but
I do. No. Just on that though, it's a serious question to all of you, the panel, and obviously the viewers and listeners, right? I think it's more of a when than an if. But when we qualify, because I totally agree with Jace. We're going to get the 3 points next game. We're pretty much qualified. Does that mean then that we're all comfortable with playing, proper coming back from injury people, experimenting? Because it's irrelevant where we finish, if we finish 8th or we finish 1st. Yeah. My understanding is it's completely irrelevant. So if we do get the job done, like most people's mentality is put the big guns out there in a match, go 3-0 up and then play the kids, right? So are we happy, get the job done, go through in the top 8, and then we can play whatever we want the next? Are we happy with that? Or we all going to be moaning, going, it's a joke. We needed Dominic Solanke to play 92 games this year.
But I think what this competition does offer you is a chance to keep momentum going. I mean, that's the only thing I would argue, that, there's nothing better feeling than winning. And I just think, Why not
Yeah,
use the
I
competition
agree
to
with
an advantage? I mean, what do you reckon, Jace? I can see you.
Well, I was going to say, I think that the key to finishing in the top 8, you'll probably need 5 wins. So, you'll get in the top 24 or whatever with 3 wins easily. But to get into that top 8, it might take you till match day 6. But the key is then the 7th and 8th matches are in January, when we want to be taking FA Cup rounds seriously. And quite, we don't know if we have a 2-legged semi-final in the Carabao Cup.
We do.
So
we will.
Chelsea all over it for Ricky.
So,
For both of us.
Please.
So it gives you the opportunity, and if you say right, even if you've got a championship side or something in the FA Cup, you can think no, we can have a strong game, because actually the last 2 Europa games are dead rubbers. Once you're in that top 8, as you say, there's no advantage to finishing 1st to 8th in it. So qualify for it as quickly as possible. Treat 7 and 8 hopefully as a dead rubber, and then you can really concentrate on those cup ties when we know January's always congested straight after Christmas and things like that. And where we've traditionally rotated in the FA Cup, maybe this time we don't have to, and we can go a lot stronger in that.
Yeah, I think it's fair point.
But I think with that rotation, right, with this rotation that we're doing and the momentum that Lee was talking about, by the time we get to January, our squad should be so much stronger. These youngsters would have learned so much and grown so much in confidence and in experience in playing proper first-team games, that by the time we get to January, it won't matter, hopefully, fingers crossed, it won't matter who we rotate in and out of that team, because they'll all be up to speed. And they'll all know Ange ball. A lot of these players that are playing the cup games, it's their first year in Ange ball. And yes, there is a squad around them that is in their 2nd year of Ange ball, but a lot of these youngsters are in their 1st year. So just that experience and having that regularity and letting those youngsters and that second team get a regular run of football. By the time we get to January, our squad should be so much stronger going into those FA Cup games and the January period.
Totally agree. Actually, Ange just said on the youngsters, he said, look, we've got to be careful with them, but at the same time, we've brought them in and some really talented players there to the club. And in my opinion, my pitch to them was we would do what we need to develop them. So I have to make sure we do that. So again, I think reinforces the case. These guys will be getting game time. I think regardless in terms of what Spurs are or they're not going to be doing in Europe. And of course, he said at the weekend, Ange, before the United game, when he was asked the question around Mikey Moore and would he start, he said, look, there's every chance he could do. There's no reason why he couldn't. So look, I think on that basis, very, very positive.
You've seen enough of him tonight, though, Rick, haven't you? Or have we? We've seen enough of him tonight to go, right, we now know that he can probably do at least 20 minutes off the bench now, and he feels part of that. And actually, he's already come off the bench a couple of times, isn't he, in the Premier League? So you've seen enough of that. I think the same with Will. So I think this is where the benefit of like blooding them in. Look, and it is a risk, because the first thing everybody says, if we lose tonight 2-1 or 2-0, the first thing everyone says is, why the bloody hell do we play the youngsters? And that would probably be the right reaction. This time, last season, when we lost against Fulham on penalties at the Carabao Cup, sorry, Rick, to bring that up, all them changes and everyone berated him, including myself. We all did, right? And it was the right response. Whereas actually this time, man, against Coventry, we were woeful, but we got through. So he was proved right by making them changes, wasn't he? Because you got the result, or you got the desired performance / result. And I think that's what's happened tonight as well. So everything at the moment, obviously the wheels are going to fall off. Everything's going to go down a shitter. Of course, because it's Tottenham, right? But
what was you saying back the other day? You were saying that we need to change this mentality.
Mate, no. I'm just taking the PISS out of the people that always have that mentality. Look, I think enjoy it as we go. 5 in a row, absolutely brilliant. Brennan's on flames, some fantastic. I mean, I'm actually falling in love with Dominic Solanke. Is anyone else? I'm actually falling in love with the bloke. I think this geezer is gonna be the real deal. So I'm loving it, mate. Keep that train rocking. And by the way, tell the guests from yesterday, by the way, Rick, if they're at the front of the train, these Kates, at the train, on the train, Paul Newman, on the train. I'm the bloody driver, mate. Woo, woo.
Jace, you can see you biting to come in there on Mikey Moore. What do you want to say on Mikey?
No, just when you said that, or when Andrew said he might play at Brighton, it'd be interesting, because I thought Werner went off. Forget his performance for a second.
Yep, we'll come on to that.
It looked harsh because he went off literally as soon as he missed his big chance. But actually, the time it takes to get substitutions ready, that was probably a substitution that was already, effectively waiting to come on when he missed that chance. And you just feel that was probably with an eye on Brighton, that he's giving him the 60 minutes or whatever, 60, 62 minutes or something. And that was probably a pre-planned one, which might give us an indication as well as to where Sonny is. Because I think if he was confident Sonny would be fit, I think he'd have let him have the full on 90 minutes. So I don't think he got hooked necessarily for missing that chance, but I think it was in his mind. But having seen him miss yet another chance, and having seen Mikey Moore's performance, at some stage the brain's got to say, look, this bloke is so far off the pace, so out of confidence. Can we really, when we know we can see chances, so we've got to be a little bit more clinical. Can you constantly leave him missing big gaping chances when the game's up for grabs? You can't. So, I would prefer to see Mikey Moore, but I just think from the pre-planned sub, it wouldn't surprise me if Werner's starting at Brighton.
He couldn't. I mean, it is a massive confidence thing, isn't it? Like,
of course it's all confidence.
But it is. You could just see. I mean, I was pretty harsh on him against the Man United game. To be fair, on the post-match show, I was pretty harsh on him, and because he did have an all right game, other than the chance that he missed. But that's the key thing: is he missing them massive chances, and you're thinking it's chalk and cheese. And look at Brennan Johnson. It's a perfect discussion point, isn't it? Brennan Johnson gets that ball, he hits it first time, bangs a bar, doesn't he? And if because the confidence is flowing, and then he takes it from his right to his left foot, pings it in the bottom corner, and it comes to Werner, and because Werner's the vein of form that he's in, at the moment, he's just got no confidence, doesn't know what to do. I mean, he's just got that ball in that still. Sorry for the viewers on audio, listeners on audio. Sorry, but that ball is coming across him. He's just got it that first time with his left foot. But obviously, it's so easy for me to say. I mean, the guy's an elite footballer compared to me, clearly. But
well, I don't know at the moment.
Well, I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because you want to get behind your team, you want to get behind the players, you don't want to be chastising and all that, like the Brennans, but he's almost bringing a criticism on himself, because he's not doing himself any favours, is he? Because he's having glaring opportunities and he's missing them.
You know what? You got to kind of define between criticism and hate. Brennan was getting some hardback hate, right? I don't think that Brennan is sensitive to criticism. I think he's had criticism probably his whole life. His dad's a footballer. His dad probably is on the phone to him after every game since he was 5 years old. Do you know what I mean? Speaking to him about what he could have done better. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think criticism is the thing. It's when you level abuse or hatred towards a player that plays for your club. That's the thing that makes no sense. The thing is with Werner, you can criticize Werner. It's actually becoming sad right now. For me, it's becoming sad. Okay, when he done that and he dragged it round the keeper. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth, all right? I'm going to tell you the truth. I always tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth. But I ended up laughing because I was just like, oh my gosh. Do you know what I mean? Like, this was supposed to be your game, bruv. Like, this was supposed to be your opportunity after Man United, after your criticism. And I'm really hoping there will be a redemption story for Werner. I don't think he's going to, put
Chelsea away, get the winner. Get the winner, Chelsea away, Rick. What do you think?
Yeah, I would love that, bro. I would love that, but more so
in the cup final
for him.
He might come on in the cup final versus Chelsea.
I would love it, bro. But I just don't think we're going to sign him permanently. So this player is so devoid of confidence, and he does the simple things good, but when it comes down to that final thing, for a long time he's not been able to do it. So, I just hope for him that there's a redemption story, but it does feel sad because I laughed and then I was just like, oh, I was upset for him. I wasn't upset that we missed. I was upset for him. I was just like, oh my God.
It is hard. It's hard,
I think because he gets hooked literally as soon as he misses it, it looks even worse for him then, doesn't it? Because he thinks, last thing I did was that, and that's another chance gone.
It's just so. It's just Joe. It's hard.
I thought,
that.
you know, the team, even at Man United, we're going down one side far more. You know, we're kind of, when a midfield player's got an opportunity to go left or right, they're always going right. And the danger in that is that once teams start to catch on to that, then they'll start thinking, leave it there, we'll double up on the right hand side and defend down the right, and it will feed across the whole team. So it's a problem that's got to be solved for sure.
It is. Look, what we are going to do, we are going to squeeze in our first break of the show for our listeners and audio. As always, guys, thank you so much for all your incredible support. We've got over 3,500 of you watching us live. We're joined by the crazy instructor, the conductor, the runner of this train. He'll tell you he's at the front of it. Lee McQueen is back on the screen. Back on the European journey and our domestic cups. Ricky J. Norwood is back in the building. And the Oracle, off X, but on Insta, in the greenhouse. Where you can put in green, in the greenhouses. Jason McGovern is back on your show. Now, a reminder, if you need one, God, you need a reminder, we are delighted to be finalists once again for the upcoming Football Content Awards of 2024. We've been blessed that you guys have put us in 3 categories. Don't ask us how, but you guys have done it. You're amazing. We're urging you, we're pushing you, if you can, to vote for us in the Best Podcast category. Now, look, a reminder, if you need one, it's at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, right? Now, look, we cannot have this vote being rigged by a gooner, by an Arsenal category in there as well. So we need your help. We need your beautiful, wonderful, lovely people's help to try and steer this show over the line to win a trophy in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium before our own bloody squad and team do. And you can make that happen. This is before the Carabao Cup. So we're going not just for the quadruple, we're going for what's the 5 option? If it's not a quadruple, what is it, guys? What is Jace? Do you know what's the option if it's not a quadruple?
5 in 5. Let's say that. 5 in 5.
Was it Pentagon? A Pentagon's 5 sides.
Right, we're going for the Pentagon. We're going for the Pentagon. We're going for the Pentagon
challenge.
And we're going in the penthouse.
For a 5-bagger. Let's go.
We're going for the Pentagon. We're up in the penthouse if we get over the line. You guys can help us right now. Smash the QR code for those that are watching this show live. Obviously, link in our audio description below. Vote for us if you can. We'll appreciate your support. You're amazing. We love you. We listen. We adore you. And thank you so much, as always, for all your incredible support for the show. We really do appreciate it. Look, we'll come on to some of the incidents in that game. Obviously, the big talking point around that first half was, of course, the offside, in which at one point, like, Spurs were going to go one down. And there was a lot of controversy as to whether that goal should have been given. Now, obviously, we've had the blessing afterwards to be given a still of the incident itself. Now, because at the time, it was a real let-off, because you've got to be honest and say that Ferencváros had a period of domination. He netted through Varga from Sivic's cross, given the offside. Now, bizarrely, many are questioning why was the offside, because Varga looked like he played on, well, he was like he'd been played onside by Romero, and the player who's not offside was not involved. So again, when we look at this, is that really borderline, Jason, got away with one there? Or is it just a case of where they draw the lines?
It's a case of where they draw the lines. You can't argue it anymore, can you? I mean,
no.
We didn't see the lines at half time or until much later. So I think we all thought it was probably onside. And, you know, none of our team really looked for the offside. So it's not like we deliberately pushed up to catch them or anything. So I think, you know, the fact that the lines have gone in our favour says that it is offside. But I think it's more by luck and judgment that we got away with it, for sure. And you know, it wouldn't have been a surprise when it went in, would it? They looked like they were more likely to score, and then just after that, you had the incident, as Lee said, with Vicario, when what a save it was, and he's probably now gutted the offside flag went up, robbed him of a bit of glory. But no, they were difficult moments, and I think that's when Lee sent that message to the group to switch Ben Davies and Archie Gray round, because they were kind of preying on that left between Gray and Davis, weren't they? They kept getting through that side. So yeah, we got away with one, but you know, we know that's how the lines work. I thought it was supposed to be semi-automated Europa League.
I think they're working towards that, from my understanding. I think they're working. I think maybe
that line looked like you took, Rick. What's that little? See where the bloke that scored, right? I see that little double. What is that there? It's like,
I don't know.
Under his armpit, they've like they've scribbled it in a little bit. It's absolute comedy, isn't it? It really
UEFA official. UEFA official. We don't tag for the line.
I'll be honest with you, team. That is miles offside. Have a look at that again, Rick. That is miles offside. In this day and age, I mean, I remember when Son goes through one-on-one, it was a toenail, wasn't it, against Leicester?
Yeah.
All them years ago. This is miles offside for that.
The only thing with that picture, look at the bloke kicking the ball. The ball's 4 foot long.
I know.
So where is the ball in amongst that?
It's absolute comedy.
I can't see where the ball is in amongst that. So I think we got away with one. Put it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in that moment as well, Wakari, you mentioned, Mac, he makes an unbelievable save. And you know what? I mean, isn't it funny about games? I always say, moments make games. You just get things that work in your favour and some that don't. And then literally seconds later, Spurs go up the other end and do go one up, courtesy of Pape Matar Sarr. He's becoming Tottenham's Mr. European man, Europa League man. 2 goals in 2 for him in this competition. More of another great run. And Lankshear got a touch before Sarr rifled it in from close range. Lovely move after some nervy moments. I want to ask you guys, if I can, again, about Pape Sarr. Ricks, because interestingly, like I say, he was pretty much an ever-present last season in Ange's side. This time around, he's found it a little bit harder. We were blessed to have you on during the pre-season period, and where I think, again, you know what, the guy was seemingly at times coming back from injury as well. Do you look at this side and feel he'll be more of a squad man this season? He'll have to work his way back in? Because I think from what we saw at the United game, Spurs, as I mentioned, have kind of now, I think, found their perfect midfield 3 in Bentancur, in Maddison and Kulusevski now. Is Sarr going to be our new Thursday night man with Bentancur, or do you think he will get Premier League games? So what's your vibe on that, Rick?
It's tough. I think throughout preseason, and like you mentioned, he was coming back from injury as well. But he wasn't his normal self during preseason, and I don't think he's really been his normal self. I don't think we've seen glimpses of it, but then there's been moments where you're just like, come on, Sarr, let's do it. Come on, bruv. I think he had a couple of moments like that tonight where he gave it away, but that's where I was talking about the pitch and the conditions, and maybe that was a factor in it. But you know what? I think there's so much potential in Sarr. I'm not writing him off whatsoever. But I think he needs to find his form, especially in this competition. I mean, he's got 2 goals in 2 games, not too bad at all. But like, I think with these opportunities, when he gets starts, he's got to start taking these opportunities himself. And maybe it's just taking him a little bit longer to get up to speed and back up to match sharpness, 100% match fitness. So that's what I'm hoping. But I think there's so much to come from Sarr. I think that he's a bundle of energy. He never stops running. He's good in the 6. He's good when he pushes forward. He does have a shot in him. He can find a pass. It's just bringing it all together and growing on it and getting stronger. Like even physically getting stronger with his body as well. It's just, but as he grows, I think that will happen. I think he's going to have to fight to get his place, but I think that's a good thing for a young one to have to fight to get in. I don't think it should be a guaranteed, all right, great, you're in. And I think he'll keep those that are in the first team right now on their toes, having to carry on training hard and pulling out performances when it comes down to the games. So, and we also know that there's going to be injuries, there's going to be suspensions, etc. There's going to be things that pile up. So Sarr will get the minutes and Sarr will get opportunities and chances. But like, he's got to really grab the game by the scruff of the neck when it comes down to these European games, the ones in which he's starting.
Yep. I wonder what you think about that, Jason, Pat, because, like I said, last season he was almost like an ever-present. Ange played him wherever he could. He gave you those legs in midfield. And it was quite interesting because, again, there was that reference made to it, I think, for the Newcastle game that, he ideally wanted Sarr for that one. When you look at Sarr's positioning now and current status in terms of the squad, do you see him more being involved in amongst more the cup competition, or do you think he will eventually earn his way back into the first team? Or how far off it is he for you when you look at our current options?
I think right now he's involved in the cup competitions rather than the Premier League. His touch doesn't look great at the moment. Some of his decisions and his just short passing and that. The times he's getting dispossessed or giving the ball away with a poor touch or a poor pass. So he's nowhere near the Pape Sarr that was there for much of last season. But it's such a long season. We're looking at a 60-odd game season. What's that? Today is match number 10. Is that 10th game tonight?
Believe so, yes. Yeah.
10th game tonight. So, it's just a long, long way to go. Injuries come in. His form will pick up. Somebody else's form will drop off. We might well get done with a Madison, Kulusevski, Bentancur midfield, and he thinks, right, I've got to change it up for the whatever game. There'll be the week where there's 2 Premier League games in 4 days or something like that. So there's plenty of time for Pape Sarr to get his form back. But certainly, I'm not looking for him to start against Brighton at the weekend, but then you get an international break and we see our players come back from that, don't you? The good thing is, on the plus side, he is getting a couple of goals, which just does help. So rather than just dropping your head and thinking everything's going wrong for you, at least he's got a couple of goals. He took his goal well. It was simple enough, but it was a composed finish, wasn't it? He didn't try and lash at it or something like that. So, that was one moment where he did choose to make the right decision and get his touch right.
I just wonder, Macca, as well with Sarr. I think we also forget this. Brennan Johnson, 23. You go for that squad of the youngsters they are now. These are young players that are going to be inconsistent. On that basis alone, do we allow a period of growth, Macca, or are we just so, always as we are, brutal and sensationalist? We want the finished article right now. These players are growing all the time, right? Sarr's another one where, again, very young age, needs regular game time to almost feel his way in. So not only just, like I say, Premier League football, European football as well. I think there's this almost feeling that, we want it all now. And I get that. We all want it now. But again, these young players are going to have inconsistency. There's going to be highs. There's going to be lows, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you look at Kulusevski's 23. Just let that sink in, everybody. He's 23. Yeah. The bloke is an ox, right? But I mean, look, we had another seven shots on target today to add to the 46 we've already had in the Premier League so far this season. Sorry, we also at the bar and we also at the post, which don't also count as shots on target. The shots on target 7, Pape Sarr had 3 of them. And some of them, 2 of them were, he could have said he could have done better or whatever, but the other one, he obviously scored. I think sometimes, look, part of our job being on here, it's not our job, we do this for fun, right? Believe it or not, Martin. Yeah, where have you gone? Like,
I say, believe it or not, we do it for fun. I mean, tell me when it's fun. When is it fun?
We do it for therapy, Lee.
Yeah, we do it for therapy. We do it for fun. Whatever we do it for. But the reality, it's not a job. I can tell you that now. But
it's been a job for the last couple of years. It's been a job for the last couple of years on here. I don't know what you think. It's funny. It has been a job.
Part of why we do this is to analyse and to have the conversations. Right? Sometimes we do overanalyze. Like the reality of the situation is. Can anybody tell me right now where Pape Matar Sarr's best position is? Like, what is he? Is he an attacking midfielder? Is he a box-to-box midfielder? Is he a CDM? Like, what actually is he? Because it makes a difference on how we judge him. Because if he's a box-to-box midfielder and he gets 5-6 goals a season with maybe 3 or 4 assists, you go, mate, he's had a great season. If he's an attacking midfielder, you go, hang on, mate, you need to be doing double figures goals and double figures assists, don't you?
It's
right? If it's a CDM, you're thinking, mate, if you score a worldie like a Wanyama did against Liverpool them years ago, and you pop up with maybe a couple of assists, then you've had a good season. So I think we're quick to judge. Not everybody. I do it. It's part of what we do. But you've got to put some context around it. The bloke's come on today after, as Jason and Rick just eloquently put, not much football. He's come off the bench at Old Trafford and got an assist. He started last week and scored. And he started this week and scored. I can't remember the fella's name. I think it was Will, but you have to forgive me, buddy. But he put in the chat earlier, Pape Matar Sarr's top scorer in the Europa League. In the competition so far. So, when you put context around it, I mean, I'm in a very jokey, sarcastic-y, fun mood, right? Because that's what it's all about. Winning.
Have a notice.
Yeah, no, exactly, mate. Exactly. But look, at the end of the day, we've had 7 shots on target. One's at the post as well. One's at the bar. 3 of them shots on target with Paps. And on another day with a better finishing, he might have even had a hat trick. I mean, that's the margins that we're talking about here. I did think, though, I think Jay said this, might have been Rick, sorry about if it was you. I did think he did give the ball away a few times like Basuma did. And I think Basuma didn't. I don't mind. Look at me, I don't mind. I don't mind Basuma giving the ball away if he's done a turn and a pivot and he's going for a run and then he gets tackled. What I don't like is when he does that and then he passes the ball away, like literally gives the ball away. Losing the ball and giving the ball away is something different. And Pape Matar Sarr and Basuma both, for me, did that too many times today. And actually where they sit in the team, as in the central midfield, you can't be doing that. And that's where it puts our backline under pressure, especially when you're playing a Ben Davis and Archie Gray that's out of position. I think it's a little bit less forgiving when you've got Mickey van der Ven there because he just mops up everything. So look, I think I like Pape Sarr. I think that he's got an engine on him. For the record, I think he's a box-to-box midfielder. I think he's a number 8, and he's in the team to run. Yeah. And actually, if he gets down the wing and puts a great cross in like he did, I think, last season, or if he gets in the box and he scores against Manchester United like I think he did last season, or if he does what he did last week and scores, or like he did on Sunday and assists, and like he did today and scores. And come on, you can see Jace's face because you can see the point I'm making, right? We're judging him really harshly. The bloke's scoring and assisting goals. Let's go, Pape Matar Sarr.
Yeah, totally agree on that. Approaching half time, another chance for Spurs to double their lead. Lankshear again seeing upside, but straight at the goalkeeper. And Mikey Moore, like I say, Mikey, to be fair to him, is getting some opportunities during this game. He drilled a shot low at the goalkeeper. We're going to come on to Mikey shortly in another segment, but I think good hot off as a whole. Consider again it was a youthful lineup from Spurs. Again, Sarr on the score sheet and plenty of good performers amid a few scary moments in that first half. Now, second half wouldn't be the Europa League without some brief delays, as we saw the fog take place, a mist where the game had to be stopped.
It was a film. I thought it was a film at one point, Rick. I think it was the fog back in the day.
The funny thing was that, I was thinking, Jay, I said it to you earlier as a joke, that you were criticising me about the fact that you would not be turning up if it was Conference League on this show, because that's below your level of any kind of post-match analysis. But I was thinking, if that dog comes up, then we are screwed. Would I have lost you if the dog came up, Jason? Is that of interest for the viewers and listeners?
I've no interest in watching the dog competition, mate. No.
I mean, we had a few minutes there where, like I say, we were concerned about the pause of delay, but thankfully the mist did disperse and Spurs had a great chance going close to a second. But again, denied at the time. And, you look at the chances Spurs had. This is where we have to come on to this difficult section on Timo Werner. Rick talked about it earlier in, I think, really fair terms that at the moment you're watching a guy that is completely and utterly just devastatingly low of confidence. And, I'll come to you, Macca, this is not being sarcastic. You wonder just when you look at the stills, it does look at this point harder to miss than score. But, at the moment, I think the common consensus is that Werner himself going through looks as unconfident as the fan base feels that he's going to score. Do you feel, Lee, all he needs is one to go in this season and he will find the back of the net? Or are you really deeply concerned that this player is only here really to contribute to gameplay? And when I say that, I look at a player like, if you remember Soldado, I thought was one of the best build-up players that we had bar the finishing. I know people would say to me, Rick, that's crazy. You can't say that. We bought this guy for 30 million. He was there as the striker to score goals, and I'm accepting him just doing build-up play. But I do wonder with Werner. Jason made that point that he was brought off, maybe with one eye in mind, that he will start against Brighton just so it doesn't disrupt the team too much in terms of what he brings from the outlet of offering that raw pace and stretching the play. Can we afford, Macca, to have a player that just does that, stretches the pace in terms of play? We're paying him 160 a week, Kay. I'm not saying it's our money, but fans are going to get frustrated if we've got a guy on the pitch that we know 9 times out of 10 at the moment is not going to finish.
Yeah, a couple of things on that. Let's talk about the money first. It's a total anomaly for me because, we didn't pay for him. Like that 160 grand a week is an anomaly. You could have, it could be part of his loan fee. There's no loan fee involved. So yes, he's getting the money, but the reality is that, it could have been a 5 million loan fee or 3 million loan fee and he could be paid 30 grand a week. So I don't think we should worry about that too much. But on the other hand, I do think we need to worry about him because, even there, that's still, I know, sorry for the listeners, we got still a Timo Werner clapping the fans. He just doesn't look like he's involved. It feels like that he feels like he's on the outside. The confidence, I totally agree with Ricky earlier, is completely devoid of all confidence, isn't he? And we know that in life, in business, in show business, in sport, it's all the same thing. Like if you ain't got confidence, you're doing different things. You're overthinking stuff. You're not putting your foot through it, or instinctively he should have just let that ball run across him and just hit it with his left foot across the goalkeeper in the bottom right hand corner, and it is basically an unbelievable goal because it's a brilliant pass. Your question to me, Rick, was, do you think it just takes him to get one? If he gets one off his backside, the old classic cliche, just needs one off his backside and he's off and running. I think that's the case with Werner, to be honest. I think that's the case with a Dominic Solanke, or Brennan Johnson has shown that, or whatever. But I just don't think that is with Werner. What you could say, though, and you could balance that out by saying, look, Brennan Johnson was in a situation like this before. The whole hate stuff on social media, and now he's found form. But the major difference with that is Brennan Johnson got 15 GA last year in his first season, and Werner had some amazing stats in his first part of his loan spell. I think he had better statistics than the likes of Neto and all these players that we wanted and whatever. But you can't, I don't know, like you can't ignore the length of time that he was at Chelsea. And look, my father-in-law's a Chelsea fan, for crying out loud, and he'll tell you all day long, like most Chelsea fans, oh yeah, that's just Werner. That's just exactly what he does. So you're kind of expecting it just to always be that way. Now, the third part of the question, which was, can we afford just to keep him in the team, just to stretch him, play and beat his man? If that's what Ange has bought him for, and I saw some comments in some comments in the chat earlier about actually he's doing his job because he's getting the ball, he's running down the wing, he's stretching play, and actually if he's creating chances for the rest of the team, then maybe we can afford to keep that. There will be a time. I don't think the chances that he's missed so far this season, they haven't hurt us, have they yet, team? I can't remember. They haven't hurt us because we've won the games that he's missed the chance in. But there will be a game where he misses that chance and we end up losing, and that'll be horrendous. So that I don't think he's coming back from that. But equally, what you do? Play him through the bad form, because if he goes and scores the winner away against Brighton, in a really tight game, and it's 1-1 and it's the 89th minute and Werner comes and scores on a worldie, all of a sudden it's like, hello, because this also maybe needs a bit of confidence. But I am waffling now. This is one for mine. I am waffling now. But
Lee, you've hit the nail on the head there, bro. It's not about one off of his backside. It's about that. It's about a last-minute winner. It's about a worldie. Because he strikes the ball with no confidence. Look at the way he strikes the ball. He always hits the center of the goalkeeper. Do you know what I mean? And then even today, like he could have taken that same shot that he had at Man United, but instead try and go for the top corner. Try and put it around the keeper. But he said, no, I'm going to now drag it, because he should have dragged it against Man United. He's like, I'm going to drag it now. And then he just messed up. It was too much thinking. He hasn't got the confidence in the strike. So that's exactly what he needs.
Is he naturally a right-footed player, or is he left-footed? Like generally?
Can I be honest with you? I mean, when watching him, I know it's disrespectful. I don't know what foot that guy is. I don't mean to be rude on that point. I don't know, Jace, on that point. I mean, Jace, always say, Jace, players need a big goal sometimes. Does he need a big goal?
Yeah, I think he needs a big goal, but I think on those specific chances, he needs to score a one-on-one goal. I think one off his backside, or even if he gets a header or something like that, that there's a big issue of him going through one-on-one, and he will be faced with more one-on-ones as the season goes. And every time you miss a one-on-one, it will prey on your mind, isn't it? Strangely enough, Sonny's missed a few one-on-ones this season, which is very unlike him. He's missed a couple as well. But
he was practicing them last season, Jace. I think it was a lot last season.
Even when you look at his goals last season, Jace, the Palace one, he couldn't miss because it was straight in front of him, if you remember. It literally was in the goal. I mean, the Aston Villa one really was a really good finish away from him. It was a really good finish. I mean, that wasn't a one-on-one either. So,
but it also wasn't needed either, was it?
It wasn't
an important goal, was it? Jace always says it wasn't important. Like, it was a great goal because we won 4-0, but it was already 3-0 up.
Yeah, it wasn't the goal to win the game. It wasn't.
Sometimes you need that big one, the last minute one, or wins a big derby, or it's the difference with, you know, gets you a win at Liverpool or something like that. You always feel like you need that. You know, like every player needs that. Like Lucas Moore has it, doesn't he? For as inconsistent as everyone remembers the Lucas Moore moment, and you're right, Eric Lamela. His famous moment is a Rabona in a game we lost.
And he got sent off.
But
he got sent off.
Players.
He got sent off that game.
There's other players like Paul Stalteri will have that moment. He only scored 2 goals for us in his life, but we'll always have that moment. So you know, he needs a big moment, but he needs to put. But Lee's right. I mean, it was a great cross from him in for.
TJ's right though, isn't he? Look, TJ there, bless him. Emerson Royal spent 1 million to improve his own game. Werner must do the same.
Yeah,
I mean, I love TJ. TJ, we know we love you, my man. I think TJ could be right.
I love him, TJ.
It was a super crossing for Lankshear's header early on, where he stood the man up, went past him with that little bit of pace, whipped in a great ball. So I mean, you know, that would have been nice if he'd have got an assist for that, but it wasn't to be. But I saw. Somebody sent round a compilation of his goals, and I mean, there's no doubt about it. You can't score the goals that he did, and get your £50 million move, and play for the German national side if you're shit. You can't. But you know, he just looks totally devoid of everything. And what I didn't really look at was the age of those goals, and it's. You know, it's 3 or 4 seasons ago that he was scoring goals. I mean, you know, he wasn't in. Let's be honest, Leipzig wouldn't loan a player out for 18 months if they thought he was of use, would they?
No.
You know, it's one thing to loan a bloke who's injured for 6 months, but another thing to loan a bloke for 18 months, cut his loan fee and say, well, just take him off our hands. I mean, that kind of tells you everything that they think of him, doesn't it?
I totally agree.
I think it's difficult as well, boys, just to come back in on that. I mean, it is a big talking point. I know we're talking about Werner a lot, but when the club and, you know, Lange and Ange, whoever, right, said, we're going to have him back, they had to make a decision in the June before he went back out and the deal would have been changed. So that's why I think they jumped in and made the decision. Although a lot of us think it was crazy, but they did. And we were all up in arms, or a lot of us were up in arms saying, look, as long as he ain't our first choice, this is how he's coming to the season, right? As long as he's not our first choice, then ultimately, you know, it'd be all right as a backup. Then we signed Odegaard as well. We knew that Solanke had come in, so we knew that Werner wasn't going to be first choice because that's Son. And then Odegaard come in, and we're thinking, all right, so actually maybe Werner is third choice. And most people could then stomach the fact that Werner was third choice. But now think about that. I'm not trying to stick up for Werner. He seems like a nice lad, right? But think about all of that that's going on. And you now know that you're down the pecking order. That's going to hit your confidence anyway, right? You're on loan, so you don't maybe feel part of the actual squad because you're on loan. You then got, you know, you're not going to be first choice because Sonny's now moved out to left. Oh, actually, now you're not going to be second choice because Odegaard come in. So you're now just a bit part player. And actually, most of us would have been okay with that. Now, it's difficult circumstances that Sonny's now injured and also Odegaard's injured. So that third choice player is now playing. And he's starting Premier League games, and he's also starting Europa Cup games. I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up. Only Spurs, right? But the point I'm making, I suppose, is that he's jumped almost from third choice to first choice. He's just not ready to play. He's not ready to do that.
But the only thing with that, Lee, is he's only got to become third choice because of his own performances.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
you know,
true.
Mikey Moore's a young kid coming through.
I don't know.
Odegaard's 19 or something.
Yep.
You know, this is a bloke that's had a £50 million move, and he's like I say, he's a full German international. Now, if he was delivering on the pitch, not necessarily scoring 15 goals, but if his performances, if he takes those 2 at Man United, and he takes the 1 tonight. You're not looking at him as third choice going to Brighton, are you? You're saying, I want him on that team sheet.
He's got to play. You have to play.
You know, the chances, the opportunities have been there to play and deliver. Yeah. And if he doesn't do it, then he goes down the pecking order.
Yeah, I agree on that.
What do we do if we're Ange? What do we do against Brighton? Right here, we've seen what we've seen today, what we've seen tonight.
Can We're going to save the Highline Derby for 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. Highline Derby.
We're going to save the Highline over 10 minutes.
I thought we're going to do it in an hour. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, Rick, isn't it? When you call
We've
it
done the hour on Werner here.
I just mean when you call it the Highline Derby, because of the way that both teams play, you will get one-on-ones.
Oh, well, tonight, I mean, I will say in that game, how many times tonight though did Ferencvaros get behind us in that game?
Yep.
They got got behind us. They will get opportunities.
And Werner will get chances.
Put in the chat, team. Put in the chat. Who do you want, Werner or Moore? Werner or Moore? Just write Werner or write Moore in the chat. How many in the chat? It's hundreds of people in the chat. Just put it in there. We'll see if we can just fill it up with one name. Just Moore or Werner. Put it in there.
You just want to spam the. You want them to spam the bloody chat, right?
Here you go. Look. Here we go. We're getting them through. Well done, team. While you're doing that, you may as well vote for us. You may as well vote for us as well, team. Yeah.
More. How do you like it? How do you like it? More.
Finally, we get this song off. I tried to get that song off for more, and no one was having it. But now we can have it. If more starts weekend, we're going for more.
On Mikey Moore, more fine play from actually in the second half. For those that didn't pick it up, wriggled out of space, was hacked down by a Ferencvaros player to win a foul. Earned applause from Postecoglou. To be fair, all night he was earning massive applause from Ange Postecoglou. You know, again, when you look at that kid, such a young age. Actually, Ange spoke about him after the game and really, glossed so highly about him, because I think there was an expectancy definitely going into, of course, this season that we would see more on a fairly regular basis. And obviously he was questioned about more when you look at obviously the start of the season about when will he get his opportunity. Great to see him starting. And Ange actually said him putting me in the team, since Mikey Moore says it's a show of trust right away. So I'm so thankful to Ange to really start me and show that trust in me. He's helped me all the time along with the rest of the coaching staff. And Ange on Mikey Moore said his ability to just deal with pressure and keep the ball in really tight areas and make really good, clean decisions for such a young boy. It's not easy out there. When young defenders are flying, and he took one within 30 seconds, but he drives on, he's got absolutely so much growth and he wants to learn. I couldn't be happier with him. I'm very pleased that he's part of our football club. And he went on to say on Mikey to expand. I just thought he was outstanding. Brilliant for a 17-year-old to play 90 minutes plus in a European away tie. He handled it superbly. I kind of knew he would. I think it will help him grow as a footballer. And once you get through that sort of experience like that, I just think it will continue to grow and evolve. And I didn't feel like I needed to take him off. He looked so strong at the end and was still contributing to us as a team. Lovely, lovely words there, I will say. As Lee's encouraged 5,500 of you to get involved. And some of the names that are coming in, I mean, God, fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
We've had Shanolas coming in there. We've had battles going on in there. I'm absolutely loving it. A few people want Werner. I don't know about that, but yeah, I mean, absolutely brilliant.
We love you all.
Thank you for all the participation, team.
We love you all. Let's talk about Brennan Johnson. Let's go to a player that is really in form at the moment. Brennan Johnson, Rich, coming over to you. 5 in 5 for Brennan. He simply can't stop scoring. And just minutes before that, he smashed the bar. I mean, Brennan Johnson on the complete opposite way to Timo right now. He is full of confidence. Everything he touch is turning to goals. How pleased are you for him, Rick? Because again, young player, 23 years of age. He's just answering those critics in the best way possible, putting the ball in the back of the net. Right, Ricks?
Yeah. Bro, for me, I'm so pleased for him. I'm so pleased for him. For all his hard work, for going through the rubbish and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm so happy for him. It's great that he's hit a run of form. And what is great as well is that, not only has he picked up confidence, but I think the fan base across the fan base, across the world, are now going, is Johnson playing? I mean, even today, did you not feel it all when he came on? We're like, straight away. I knew it. I felt it in my heart. As soon as he came on, I was like, Johnson's going to score today. I could feel it straight away. And having that feeling, having that energy, having that momentum going forward is going to be beautiful. Not just for him, but for all of us fans watching him as well. It is such a great indictment and example of backing these young players and supporting them. And like I said, that doesn't mean you can't critique them. Doesn't mean that you pour honey into their ear holes left, right, and center, because sometimes that does more damage than good. So you have to be fair with your criticism. You have to have context to your criticism, but there ain't no need for that hate. And we know that. But with the young side that we now have, we've got a side like Lee just said there. The fact that he said Kulu's 23, he just doesn't seem like a 23-year-old in my head. Do you know what I mean? At all. But we've got a bunch of young guys there that have all grown up on social media that are going to hear and feel and react to that energy, whatever energy you put out there in the stadium and whatever energy you put out there on the socials, because they've literally grown up in it. You know, majority of these kids, when they were in the pram, you know, they got given an iPhone and they were trying to find YouTube ads. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So, like,
I'm going for it right now, Rick. I can tell you, my kids, bless their heart, they're on TikTok already. What's going on in my life? Give me help.
There you go. And they know how to find it, right? They know how to click.
They know
how to find it.
Like father, like sons, Rick. Like father, like sons.
but what I'm saying is that...
Be careful, McGovern. Don't you say anything. I know what's going to come out of McGovern's mouth.
But these young ones, bro, like, you know, they're so used to it. They are so used to it that it's unescapable sometimes. So I'm so happy for him that not only did he get through it, turn it off, and crack on with the passion and the love and the work that he's got to do, but he's like, you've got that sense that, yes, I'm excited to see Brennan playing. Yes, if he's coming off the bench, yes, all right, cool, something's going to happen. And that's what we needed for him. And that's what we should keep in mind with all of the dips that these young players are going to have in the coming season.
Yeah, totally agree on that. Actually, some nice words from Ange on Brennan. He said he's in a great run of form right now. He's really confident. They thrive on that sort of thing, but his numbers have always been good for us. He wanted to make that point clear. And he said, I was always curious as to why he was singled out, because his numbers were always good when stepped up against other wingers. So now he's probably ahead of them just with his numbers alone, which is a really fair point from Ange, actually, on Brennan. I mean, Jace, a player that I know probably for all of us, it's been quite uncomfortable seeing that criticism, not only just his age, but the fact that the guy gave a decent contribution last season. Again, I'll make this point that this guy, you know, didn't even have a pre-season. That's what I was also staggered about. He didn't have a pre-season last season. So I couldn't quite understand the criticism when, again, he was pulling up the numbers. But look, again, 5 in 5. Can't really ask for more than that, can you, at the moment? Again, it'll just be a case of, can he go and do it now, like United in the big games, like he did?
Yeah, I think that was, I think, part of the general criticism that, you know, he's doing it against bottom half teams, not against top half teams. But the thing is, whether they're bottom half teams or not, whether it's Coventry City in the Cup or not, you know, I mean, Coventry's a great example, isn't he? Oh, it's only Coventry. Scores the winning goal. There was 16 other people involved in that fixture. None of them scored the winning goal. You know, when he came off the bench, and he had that little run, didn't he, last year, where we beat Brighton. I think he got the winner against Brighton. We beat Brentford, and we turned the Palace game around. And I think he scored in 2 of them, and certainly made, I think, the goals against Palace. Well, nobody else on the pitch scored the winner that day, did they? You know, Kulu didn't score that day. Richarlison didn't score that day. You know, these people didn't score the goals that day, and Brennan Johnson did, and it delivered 9 points, which would have been 3 points without his goals. So, you know, whether there's the top half teams or the bottom half teams is irrelevant. You play 20 games against the bottom half teams. You play 18 games against the top half teams. There's 60 points against the bottom half teams. So if he scores the winner against the bottom half teams only, and you get 60 points, you ain't got to do too much more about it, have you? It's simple. If you beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, you get 3 points. If you beat Ipswich because he scores the winner at home, you get 3 points. Doesn't matter which way the 3 points goes at the end of the day, does it? You get your 3 points. He scores the winning goal at Coventry, where we'd have gone into a penalty shootout, quite possibly with Fraser Foster in goal. He doesn't save the penalties like at Fulham because he's a lamppost. And we're dumped from the one competition we genuinely think big chance to win. So, you know, that's what Brennan Johnson does. I don't care who he scores against. It's that he scores goals. And, you know, if he doesn't score against the big half teams, so be it. It doesn't have to be only him that scores, does it?
No.
You know? So the fact he scored against Man United, great. Then he got lucky apparently with an assist because it comes off for somebody. I don't care. He's still got an assist. The ball's gone in the back of the net. What do you want him to do? You know? So, and you know, the great example is, look at Timo Werner. Wouldn't Timo Werner like to be scoring goals against the bottom half teams?
Of course he would.
And if Brennan Johnson had missed those chances against those bottom half teams. Imagine the pylon going on in him then, isn't there? So, you know, he's come up with a winning goal at Coventry. He's come up with a winning goal today, a decisive goal against Brentford, a decisive start to the game against Man United. They're big goals. Well, whoever the opponent is, they're big goals. And exactly, King Oddle, look, Pedro Neto, that everyone wanted to spend billions on to watch him on the physio's table, has got 11 in 117 games. So how many big goals has Pedro Neto got? Pedro Neto, I don't think, has got a big goal in the warm-up yet, let alone against a big team.
He got one against us, didn't he? The sod.
Yeah, but there you go, Lee. That's an easy one, isn't it? That's the highlight derby goal.
Oh, no, derby goal, wasn't it? Fucking hell.
Jason Guardiola in the facts.
And I think probably the other slight criticism of Brennan, which he does have to improve on, is that within the 90 minutes of a game, it's not just about scoring one goal and thinking, right, I've scored. It's to contribute a lot more within that 90 minutes. So the Brentford game is a prime example where he scores in that game, but he had 2 or 3 chances after that. One in the second half where he really had to score. One where he. So it's getting the second goal and it's being more consistent within the 90 minutes rather than that 1 or 2 flashes in 90 minutes. But you know, he's a young kid. He's miles away from being at his best. I remember saying in the group, I'd go and get Brennan Johnson. I could see what Brennan Johnson was about. I think there is a little bit. There's a lot more to come from Brennan Johnson. I like his attitude and that. I think he'll be an excellent player for us going forward. But there'll be good days and there'll be bad days even with him. I think that his other thing that you have to forget the price tag. That's the price tag the club put on him. You know, no, does he look up 50 million player at the moment?
But what is 50 million now? But what is 50 million now? What is 50 million
exactly.
now? What is that anymore?
So, and Solanke's getting flat because it's now 65 million. So just forget the price, forget how much they earn a week. It's what they produce when they cross that white line on the Saturday. And at the moment, he's scoring big goals, which are getting us big results. And I don't care who the opposition is. If it's Ipswich at home, I don't care. It's 3 points.
But also the key thing
Jace. Sunshine.
The key thing also on this point is, Rick, you know, looking at, you know, he's already matched BJ's goal tally in competition from last season. We're only in October.
There we go, bruv. There we go. All right. Look, it's exactly. I can't say anything more than what Jace he put it beautifully. He gave you context. He gave you reason. He gave you balance. Big up, Jace, man. Big up, Jace. Agree. Like, you smashed that, bro.
Let's discuss the only real negative of the night, if I can. Do you want to come in on Macca? Go on.
BJ, I just want to come on, Brennan, if I can, just quickly. So I have to go put the Twins down. But if you watch the goals that he scored for Forest, and I've got a few Forest friends, a couple of my clients are Forest fans as well. They go to all the games. If you go and watch some of Brennan's finishing, that is a signature finish of his, which is from the right and hitting the Man United goal. Not so much as the tapping, but the one he hit the post on against Man United. That's a signature goal. Like even today, I know it's a left foot, but he goes across goal and it's so far in the corner. It's like he scored so many of them goals on the right hand side and going across goal. I'm so pleased for the fella, and I echo everything that everyone's already said about it, and we move on. But I just want to say, you know, it just goes to show you that actually this is the thing with the whole Werner situation is if we can keep the faith, and I think it's a different scenario with Werner, but you never know, do you? You never know. But that's what you want. You want people scoring, you want people getting involved, and like somebody's just said in the chat. He starts against Brighton. You think he's going to score again, don't you? You'd probably go and put a cheeky pound on it, wouldn't you?
Yeah. No, I totally agree on that. I mean, I think the only thing at the end is I think what always you know about this Spurs team and what they're a little bit susceptible for, Jace, is that they've always got a goal they might concede. And that's what happened right at the end there. Varga got one as he slid the Homer ball from the left. I mean, I suppose, look, whilst we are winning games, I know everyone won't get too carried away that we also are still conceding goals. And I think you said it to me as well. It's the nature of this style. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to change. You'll always be susceptible. We discussed it earlier. The way Spurs do play that high line does mean teams are going to always get chances against us. That's fair to say, isn't it? Just being real.
Yeah, it's going to happen, and some days you'll get absolutely mullered through it, and which is why I said to you in the week, Rick, we will get tonked. I can see a tonking coming. It may not be Saturday, but some team will get 3 or 4 chances and they'll take them.
I think the key thing is on that tonking,
that
though,
is the
Jake,
Premier League.
Like any team, what you can't afford to do is get tonked regularly and consecutively. That is the key.
No, of course not. Of course not. But you know, the other good thing tonight, Rick. How many corners did we concede tonight? Was there one effort on goal from our corner?
No. I'm trying to think.
We cleared every single corner. So I think you said
on the last show. What are we now? You said on the last show. You said to me.
I think we're now over 50 corners this year, with 1 goal conceded and only 5 direct efforts on goal. Yeah. So we've defended 45 or 46 corners perfectly well. But as soon as we concede one, the pilot will be, see, look, we're useless at corners. We're not.
Yeah.
We're not. We're handling them better probably than anyone else. And the one team that scored against us from a corner, Stoke have been scoring them every single week in the Premier League.
Stoke, mate. I'll tell you what. Stoke won't win the Premier League. Just on the defending thing, that's what I actually want to say about Brennan Johnson and also Kulusevski, because he mentioned this in one of his interviews, is that playing him in the middle, he actually admitted that he can now defend. Kulusevski said this. He said, I can, and I actually think that, as somebody said it in the chat earlier, I actually think Brennan Johnson has got better as defending as well. I remember sitting with Mike, Mike Ryder was in the chat tonight. Hello, Mike. We sit together as me and Colsey and Mike and Steph and Paul and the lads. And I remember sitting there with Mike when Brennan was on. It's like, he don't track back. He don't work hard off the ball, but now he does. That was one thing I saw about Werner tonight. Is he did not fancy tracking back too much in that second half. Maybe he was tired, I don't know. But again, it was that all-round work ethic. They always say, don't they, the great players, the greatest players, they go that way as well as go that way. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's part of the game that Kulusevski and Johnson has added this season to their game, which is great to see. And I think that is helping. There's no doubt, I know Don wasn't on the pitch today, until the last 10 minutes.
He came on very last minute,
last minute. But there's no doubt that he's helping at them corners.
100%.
Miles better.
And just his work rate up front, Lee. Just his work rate of closing people down up front and winning balls up front and holding that up. I mean, he's looking an excellent addition at the moment for sure.
Really is.
Yeah, I do agree on that point. And, you know, I think, again, as a whole, although they conceded one, I don't think you can ask anything more than what the guys gave us. And I think, you know, when you're looking at Europe as a whole now, I think when you consider the fact now we've got 2 wins out of 2, it's a really strong start to the group. As Jason said, it gives us an opportunity maybe later on to rotate and to be able to, you know, with no disrespect, be able to look at the teams we've got coming up and prioritise when need be. I think that's really, really important for what Spurs are looking to do. And just in his post-match presser, if I can bring you some of the comments from there that he's given to the media. He's just come out of his post-match presser. And, you know, he said, irrespective of the way you play, Europe away is always a challenge. You saw the atmosphere the crowd can create. They were really great to get behind the team and the conditions as well. So there's a whole range of things you need to deal with. Obviously, we made quite a number of changes to the team, including bringing the young boys in, but I thought they handled it really, really well. We need to defend and defend well. We played some good football and created some good chances, and maybe we could have won by a couple more. But most importantly, an away win in Europe is a real credit to these players. And again, I will just say absolute credit to the lads. We obviously heard the praise from Mikey Moore earlier. And of course, when you look at the fact that someone like Archie Gray, he said, I thought was brilliant. You know, you have to remember Archie, again, he's such a young age. Lucas worked hard. Will was unlucky for a couple of chances. But these guys, they are playing because they've earned their spot. They're an important part of our development because we want to be able to have a team that has an impact this year. It's like I said before, it's important we're developing players that along the way. So whatever sort of period of potential success or opportunity for success exists, it's elongated because of the young players that we brought through. I just think all those boys will come to me and go, okay, that was tough. It was different, but we got through it. And he laughed when he said, yeah, they're 18, they're 19, but look what they're doing for their age. So there's real praise about the group as a whole. And there's praise of course, Brennan Johnson in terms of, you know, I say again, that run of 5 in 5. And I think I say it's a real good spot that Spurs are in right now. And before we look ahead to Brighton, one thing I have to bear in mind, as I said earlier, for those that missed it on the intro, Spurs' best run of form for over 3.5 years. And to also bring it into context, that the last time Spurs did this, hold on to your hats, fellas, was February-March 2021. We then lost 3-0 at Dynamo Zagreb, and a week later then sacked Jose Mourinho 4 games after it. So I'm not insinuating a crisis coming round the corner, but all I'm saying, boys, is strap in. You never know what's coming your way. So what we are going to do, Mac, do you want to comment on that comment?
I was going to comment on that. I mean, I do. I just didn't want to comment on that because I know it's obviously tongue in cheek. But what I would say on that, from all seriousness, is that
we're fucked.
Yeah, exactly. We're screwed. No, everybody now can see the trajectory going up, and even if we lose to Brighton, right? I'm not putting them off on, but even if we lose to Brighton or we get a draw, whatever it is, that's not a draw is not a bad result at Brighton, by the way. But even if we lose or we draw to Brighton, we're still, the bigger picture is still the higher trajectory. Does that make sense? It doesn't feel like under Jose and that scenario that you just talked about there, wasn't that the time where we were going win a couple, lose a couple, win one, lose one, win a couple, draw one, win? It doesn't feel like that we're on that now. It feels like that we're on, like Brennan Johnson's going to start. Oh yeah, he'll score. Dominic Solanke's going to start. Oh yeah, he'll probably score. Do you know what I mean? Like, it
feels like we've turned a corner. And I mentioned, I think that Jed Spence goal at Coventry, it sounds crazy me saying this now. That feels like that could be one of the moments of the season. When you look back now at how crucial that goal is, because that Coventry game, let's be honest about it, we look like we're going out the cup to Coventry. It's one away win in the last 17. And suddenly Jed goes and scores. We then have that follow-up victory as well. And it just feels like that. You should never say this.
It's football. Again, just trying to be really open about it. It's football. I mean, do we ever have a period? And it's not just Spurs, but obviously we're all Spurs, so I'm talking the Spurs language. But do we ever have a period of like just pure stability? I mean, even when we got to Champions League final, like we totally shouldn't have even been in the knockout stages of that Champions League. Like, I think people forget.
We was out 3 times.
That's what I mean. We were properly out there, our wave form and everything, and like getting the draw against Barcelona and then Inter Milan not doing what they needed to do, got us through. We ended up getting to a final. So, and it was one of the best nights of my life in the semi-final in Amsterdam. It was, footballing terms. Just put that on. I've got 3 children and a couple of businesses and a wife.
Get it in there now.
But yeah, but so. I just think we need to enjoy what we're seeing. John, one of our own, Lily White Rose, I've just seen a message from him, and he said, "Look, we don't get many away wins in Europe, right? So enjoy it. Enjoy what we do. We don't get many Old Trafford away wins, so enjoy it. And hopefully we'll be enjoying another Coca-Cola bottle kick moment from Harry Kane did down at Brighton at the weekend, because it'd be fantastic if we win down at Brighton.
Right? Should we go to Brighton?
Can I just correctly?
Go on, Jay.
When he said we don't get many Old Trafford wins, we've won there 5 times in the last 11 years.
It's getting better, that record.
5 in the last 11 years. It's not that unheard of.
Okay. Fair enough.
We had a horrific record until we won there, but since that 3-2, we've won there 5 times now in 11 years. I wish we had that at the Emirates.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know any comments that are coming in through. Let's read some of these out. Oratal says, Ange needs praise for the wins whilst resting players. Perfect substance squad management. Not easy and underappreciated in hindsight. A really important point there.
Really
Renegade Sound says, let's dream and get behind the boys. And Kate, bless her heart, big up Ricky, Lee and Jason and Ricky. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't a comfortable watch, but a win is a win. Come on, you Spurs, and well done, Johnson, again. Yeah, again, totally agree. Brennan Johnson, 5 in 5. Absolutely flying and going to Brighton, where it's going to be interesting. I mean, Brighton themselves, look, they've just come off the back of a 4-2 defeat to Chelsea. I joked and said beforehand, this is quite frankly the Highline derby. Macca laughed at me when I said that last season for the Aston Villa game. But Brighton, I do love a Highline derby. Brighton are sitting currently 9th in the league. They've demonstrated resilience with an unbeaten home record to date. Really important we put that obviously to the top of the list in terms of just making that clear. They are unbeaten at home. They've got 9 points, 1 less than Spurs. But interesting, actually, this is Brighton's worst start to a season in the past 4 seasons, which tells you really how good have Brighton started in general for this to be their worst in the last 4 seasons. I mean, despite that setback, they've managed to score 8 goals in their last 5 games. They've shown flashes of brilliance under a young manager, you've got to say, in Hertzler, who's I think he's done a fairly good job so far. Now, again, indifference, having a few draws in there, but the home form does remain their bright spot. Unbeaten their last 6 at home, with their last 3 matching 1 win and 2 draws. Let's go to Brighton very quickly, boys. Let's have a feeling on it. Let's go to Macca, Brighton away. A ground that we've done okay at.
Okay.
I mean, do you know what? When you look back, and again, not to bring negativity to the show, when we've lost there, we've just lost in really bad circumstances. Lloris breaking his arm, if you remember. And it's
terrible,
just been,
wasn't it? That was the beginning and the end. I think that game was the beginning and the end of Poch. Last season as well. I mean, sorry, Jace, if I'm going to nick what you're going to say, but because Jace says it all the time, that we need to improve on the results that we got last season. We lost. We lost.
We were 4 down at one. We were 4 down.
Yeah, we lost up at Newcastle, and we lost up at Newcastle again this season. You know, we lost to Arsenal at home. We lost to Arsenal at home, and actually, we beat Man United now, so that's an improvement. But we need to go to Brighton and we need to win to improve. I mean, we did go there last season with Emerson Royale and Ben Davies at the back. I think it was an absolute carnage game. It was a night game. It was under lights. It was slashing down with rain. And I think we were 4-0 down under carnage. But to be fair, it went back 4-2. And I actually remember it could have gone to 4-4 quite easily. I think Richarlison had a chance off the top of my head. So when you talk about they're unbeaten this year at home, they are unbeaten this year at home. But let's be fair, frank about it.
This season.
This season. But they drew 0-0 with Ipswich, right? And they drew 2-2 there with Forest. So let's put some context around it. You know, they started the season with a 3-0 away win at Everton, and then a 2-1 win at, against Manchester United, which anyone can beat, as Porto just showing you as well. Because we're rubbish, obviously, going up there, and then they've drawn their subsequent 3 games, and then they got battered by Chelsea. So they haven't won in 4 games. So they're coming into this under pressure, and it's our job as fans to talk that up. That's our job, to put them under pressure. Yeah, you're under pressure. You've got to go for it here, Brighton, because you are, you've got the worst start to a Premier League in the last 3-4 seasons, and if you lose against Spurs. So you need to go for it, and you need to be open, because I tell you what, if they play that high line, we're going to absolutely rinse them. We are going to rinse them to death, and I actually think this is going to be an absolute mullering for Spurs. I think we're going to lose 5-0. No, I'm joking. I think they are under pressure, and I think that we're on the rise, and they're not. And I call this the scissor graph. You know, where the graph goes and they cross over each other. And like they're going on the down and we're going on the up. So it's a tough place to go. Jace hates
I love the way me and Rick are just looking at this graph thinking, what the fuck is he on about? Me and Rick are looking at, what is he on about with this graph?
Come on, get with it. But the reality is, look, it's going to be a tough game. But the people to watch in this game, I like their striker. Is it João Pedro? I like him. He's a good player. Obviously, Matoma. As well, but you know their attack, their midfield, and their defense is worse in units than ours. You know, and the way we're playing and the way we are, and the confidence that we've got, I think we need to be going there and taking the 3 points.
I can see James has been on the phone to Costa there. Just for Costa, I've got a dunk winner from a corner written all over it. If that's not Andy Costa,
no, we can defend him now. We can defend him now. Jace, ask Jace. We've got the stats.
You know what? I mean, on that point, one thing I will just say with Brighton, what I can't believe is on their high line, Jace, is that I said this the other day, they play dunk in that high line. You know what? If that was Spurs and we were doing that, we'd be crucifying them. We've got Mickey Van der Ven back there. I mean, where do you think the most dangerous threat for Brighton is at, Jace? We'll bring Jason in there. Jace, where are they the most dangerous for you, Brighton? Where are they going to cause us the most problems, do you think?
I think it's just there's nowhere specific. Our high line gives us a problem, doesn't it? Let's be honest. It gives us a problem. There's chances every week against us. We've seen it with Karabag and Ferencváros tonight. So what do you keep using that graphic for? When are you going to delete that picture?
When we've learned our lesson.
Seeing that picture. Move on. It's weeks ago, that is.
Scolded. But listen, are we improving, or is that always be an Achilles heel for us? That it's what we're going to have to deal with, isn't it? If you want to play the way we're going to play, we're going to always leave space, isn't we? There's no way of getting around that, is there?
It is, but I think there's a big difference to how much space there is when Bentancur plays to when Bissouma plays. I just get that feeling with Bentancur, because like I say, he takes it off the back four and passes it. Doesn't really look to run too much with it. You see him turn it round the corner, and he kind of stays in a central area, so he can intercept when a ball comes a lot easier. Whereas Bissouma takes it and wants to drive with the ball, and therefore he runs out of position. And then, as Lee says, when he then loses it, then there is a massive, massive hole. So I think part of it is down to us and how we play, and who plays, more than necessarily that it is just simply a high line. I think the fullbacks we've seen the Premier League have tended to stay wider, so there's not quite been the space in behind that there is. And I think they've been a little bit more selective in when they've gone.
Yep.
They haven't both necessarily bombed on, one's crossed to the other on the far post, and then you leave a big hole in transition. So I think it's Bentancur manages transitions better than Yves Bissouma. So I think that helps. I think we'll have the chances to win it. But like I say, I actually think Werner does start from that pre-planned sub tonight.
So as Mario says here, it's Werner versus Dunk on the counter.
Yeah, Werner, in which case you fancy Lewis Dunk, didn't you? In fact, you fancy one of the
me
donkeys
versus
running along
Werner
the
on the
beach.
counter, mate. You fancy me? I know most people do, but especially versus Werner.
And Mac has done his ACL.
I think we get the
Twice.
chances. You'd sooner Solanke on our team than them. But we know even Danny Welbeck's capable of scoring, isn't he? So
Yep.
I'd be surprised if we keep a clean sheet. But I think we out-chance them. It's them whether we take the chances.
Okay, Jace, you're back with me for Sunday. What are you going for?
Oh, crumbs, right. I don't mind what the score is, but don't keep putting that picture up. I'm sick of seeing it.
You won't see it on Sunday if we do not concede from a high line. We love you, mate. Prediction,
I think
Jace?
Spurs win it, but like I say, it's up to us to take the chances.
Love that. Jace, thank you so much. Score prediction?
8-6.
It's the Highline Derby. It's going to be goals. It's going to be goals. There you go.
This is Portsmouth. This is Portsmouth Spurs back in the day. Harry Redknapp, we're going to have a go. It's classic.
I go 3-1. I go 3-1.
Yeah, it will be. I think there will be goals. It will be an interesting game. Rick's my man. I've got to say, love having Rick's back on for a post-match. Really miss Rick. So love having Rick's back on. We love you, my man. We love you.
It's good being back, boys.
We love you, bro. We love you, my man.
Sitting here, just listening to you all, boys.
Listen to Jace with his green fingers in the garden house.
I love it.
We love you, bro. Ricks, what are you going? What actually? Before I ask you what you're going for, what are you feeling for this Brighton game? It won't be easy, will it? You know, this is going to be a tricky game, and there will be a lot of chances galore. Fair to say.
Yeah, there's going to be chances galore. I think it's going to be a great game to watch. I think it's going to be back and forth, left, right, and centre for all of the reasons that the gentlemen have already highlighted. But what I would say is that I think we have, all in all, a better back five, including Vicario. You know, like I think your doggy's better. I think Porro's better. I think Romero's better, and I think Van der Ven's better. And I think that's where we really win it. I think the midfield will take care of itself, and I think our attackers will go and take care of that final third up there. But where we win it is that back line and our goalkeeper. And I think that's where we've got a bit of a cheat code. That's where we've got a bit of an advantage on them. And we just got to continue to build on that and continue to use it. You know, we know how much of a threat Mickey Van der Ven is. And he is a cheat code. He literally is. It's like we've got, it's a hacker in and they've just boosted all of his stats suddenly. So I think we've got one of the most exciting defenses in the league by a shadow of a doubt. Do you know what I mean? Without a shadow of a doubt. And which is crazy to say, an exciting defense.
I think it's highly exciting for the opposition and the neutrals to watch that defense at times.
Yeah, but
right.
Do you know what?
You're
it's
right.
like, Matt has said it as well. Matt has said it in an interview a couple of weeks ago where he goes, sometimes you'll see us, and it'll look like they've got him behind, but actually it's offside, or whatever else he said. But he explained it. And I think it's along those lines there. The difference between tonight's back four and Man United against Man United on the weekend is that those four know each other inside out. They know where they're running. They know where they're going. They know how to cover. And we've obviously got the cheat code. Today, it was a bit mishmashy. To have Gray in at centre-back and Davies out on the left, I think was a bit mishmashy. So I think once they swapped over, and I don't think Gray's like the next Roberto Carlos at left back. Not at all. Do you know what I mean? I do think midfield is his position, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in that position. But he done a lot better on that left hand side tonight. But it was still a bit janky. You know, the line wasn't as tight. When they dropped back, when they pushed up, sometimes it was a bit disjointed. When Archie ran up and he was way up the field and then he lost it, he was like, and he didn't know who was going to cover him and where. So there was little bits like that, and I think that's the difference. So with our first 11 back five, I think it'll be a totally different story. I think we continue to build on this momentum, this confidence, and the way in which we play Ange ball, the Tottenham way. And because I just think they're all going to be buzzing. Those that missed that tonight, I think they're all going to be buzzing.
That's brilliant.
To get their boots on come Sunday.
Rick's prediction?
I'm going to go 3-2.
Okay.
I'm going to go 3-2 Tottenham. Come on, you Spurs.
Ricks, we love you. So good having Ricks back. Like I say, Ricks, I know I feel like you're really busy right now. If anyone goes on your Instagram, it feels like things are popping off. Exciting times to get ahead, please, God, for you. Lots going on.
Yes, bro. Yeah. There's loads of lovely little things happening in a minute, as well as auditions. I just had a recall for an audition, so we'll see about that. That's to do with a US project, so we'll see. I should know by the end of the week. You never know. But apart from that, I've been teaching a lot. So I've been doing some younger drum workshops, and then I've been doing some adult classes at a private members club, which has been fantastic. And then hosting, there's been events, there's been charity gigs, there's been Mr. Rudolph Walker's 85th birthday. Happy birthday to Mr. Rudolph Walker, who plays Patrick in EastEnders.
What a legend.
Yeah, proper legend. He had a fantastic night Saturday, and so did I. It was his fault that I was drinking rum punch that night, but we won't speak about it. We won't talk about it. We're going to keep it moving.
Rick, listen, I always get that in there. It's always someone else's fault. Always. Never our fault.
Who am I to say no? Is that not impolite? And
I mean, come on, they'll pour it down your throat. What else could you do? They'll pour it down your throat. What can you do?
It was his birthday. What am I supposed to do?
Of course.
So yes, just keeping super, super busy. Every day's a new day. And man, just looking forward to what tomorrow brings, my friend.
Bless you, my man. We love you. We'll see you soon, Rick. Back for more. Macca, we'll close with you.
Pleasure, gents.
Always, my man. We love you so much. Macca, we're going to close with you. Brennan Macca, I WhatsApped you an hour ago and said we're finishing in 10.
I told you, mate. I told you. Lucky I'm father of the year. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly,
my twins just going to sleep on their own. Look, I
just
want
to say one thing, Macca, just before you give us a prediction. How do you feel we're going to deal with the Sunday to Thursday to Sunday turnaround? This is the first time we've done quite a long trip and come back. How do you think we'll deal with that?
Yeah. It's a really good question because, some of the lads were left at home, but most of them travelled still, even if they didn't play. So that would be really interesting. Obviously, Brighton haven't had a game, so they're rested. But Manchester United had a home game and they had an extra day of rest, and we had we had the extra day and we had to travel because it was an away game to Manchester United, and we still turned them over. So I think hopefully we'll be okay. I think that's why it's so important, that rotation and moving things around. I think Ange's got a spot on so far, so hopefully that continues. Just want to say, before I give you my prediction, I've just done some quick workings out. So last 4 games that Brighton have played, they've had 18 shots on target, which is an average of just under 5. It's 4.5, right? Just round it up to 5. So on average, the last 4 games, they've had 5 shots on target. Interestingly, they've also conceded, guess what? 18 shots on target. You couldn't make it up. So it's also 5. So it kind of cancels itself out. This is why we're saying it's going to be kind of, goals. There's a lot of people in the chat, obviously our prediction. I'm actually going to go with, I actually think it's going to be 2-4. It's going to be a reverse of the scoreline from last year. 4-2. It's going to be 2-4 Spurs. But I actually think Timo Werner, because we've battered him a bit tonight, I think Timo Werner is going to get the 3rd goal that makes us go and win the game, because it's going to be a breakaway to get the 4th, and we put it to bed, and it's going to be Timo the hero. So that's what I'm going to go for. Look, we are going to give them chances. Like, if you go and have a look at how many chances we give Carrier Bag, as you called them, Rick, I think there was 5 shots on target. Even tonight, there was only probably 2 of note, but there was 5 shots that they had on target.
Yeah.
United, I think they only had 2 because they're shocking. But we always give chances away. So, and Brighton seemed to take them in their possession as well. I actually think it was one of the hardest games we played last year.
Well, we were 4 down, weren't we? We were 4 down. It was, that was a real tough game. Yeah.
At least with Newcastle, at least, I mean, they still ruined us 4-0, obviously, away, but last season I'm talking about. But at least they let us have the ball. Brighton are not going to let you have the ball. You're going to have to fight for that ball. So it's going to be very interesting. And they have taken points off Arsenal, to be fair. And Arsenal are a bit of a juggernaut, aren't they? So, they've taken Stoke. They did, to be fair. Stoke.
Britannia, or whatever it's called now.
Yeah, they did, Britannia Emirates, the Emirate Britannias or whatever. But so I'm going to go 4-2, Ricky. I'm going to stick with the faith. I think we're going to play a good game, and that would be a sensational. And
that would be 6 wins in a row going into the international break.
6 wins in a row. Brennan to score again, 6-6. Solanke to score again. Happy days. But Rick, here's the big question: what do you think is going to happen? What is your prediction, my man?
I think it'll be a score draw. I think Brighton. I think it will be a tough game for us. I don't think a draw is a terrible result, but I think the form we're in right now, I think we can go there and win. But my head's telling me a draw. I don't know. I think it will be a tough game up there.
You say that is not a terrible result. I've just also looked whilst we've been chatting of all the teams that are above us. Now it makes no difference at this stage of season. I'm
not really looking at tables at the moment.
But people do look at the table. Be fair about it.
Of course.
Every single team above us, but we're only above Brighton, I think, on goal difference, right? So that's key. Every single team above us has a fixture on paper that you'd expect them to win. So if they did all win them, right, as expected, and we didn't get a result at Brighton, we're gonna lose points on that that perceived.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it top 3 race because I think we're going to finish third. So it is a bit of a game, and it's before the international break, isn't it, team? The worst thing to do is lose.
I think that's why you don't want to lose before the international break. It just doesn't have a good feeling for it. But I'll be honest with you, I'll be honest with you guys. It has exceeded my expectations these last few weeks. I was concerned about where we'd be going into the October international break, which Jason will definitely tell you.
I was thinking, which one of you two will be quiet in the group chat on Monday? Lee disappeared after the derby, and you've disappeared most of the season.
Let's give the final word to Jason Guardiola. Jace, so you want to come in there, close it for us. What do you want to say?
Go, mate.
You ready? He was waiting to speak.
Okay. What's the golf?
Fantastic. Well, on that base, I'm going to say a massive thank you, conductor, instructor, runner Lee McQueen. Thank you so much. Unbelievable Hollywood legend star Ricky J. Norwood. Rick, thank you so much. Keep up the teaching, keep up the doodling, keep up doing what you're doing. We love you, my man.
Love.
Jace, we'll see you on Sunday for Brighton. Guys, thank you so much. Over nearly 5,000 of you watch this show live. One last urgent call for you. We know how much we love you, and we love you back. Go and make sure you vote for us in the upcoming content awards for the FCAs. We love you for doing so. Hit that QR code button.
I've just seen this Bruno Fernandes sent off again.
No.
Are you serious? Is that actually happening?
Just come up, look, Bruno's sent off.
Way.
We're going to take that.
Yeah, see it in the chat. Oh, my days.
We're going to take that off.
I don't even know what the score is.
Find out there. Oh, my gosh.
We're going to take this off here.
Are they losing again?
Is he gone, do you think? Just quick round robin. Is he gone? Ten Hag, is he gone? Yes or no? He's gone.
He only got given the confidence vote on the back of the Spurs game.
Exactly, that's where he's going to go, isn't it? That's classic.
I don't know. Gareth Southgate incoming. I mean, that should be fun and games, just in general for football banter. Again, thank you so much, guys, from the wonderful Lee McQueen, from the brilliant Ricky General, from the superb Jason McGovern. We've been the last one on Spurs. Thank you so much for all your love from us. Keep safe, keep well, and as always,